My major involvement was with one of the glider force, the special glider force, which should have dropped 3 gliders onto the battery. And the glider I was in was commanded by Lieutenant Pond, and it was about the only glider that got anywhere near the battery. The other glider, one glider landed in England. It was unflyable, and the third glider landed in about 5 kilometres away from the battery. The attack had already gone in as the glider landed, and the shelling started to commence from all over the place. So we had to come out of the battery as quickly as possible, lest we would all been killed. There were lots of wounded, and they carried them out on sledges, on the ammunition sledges, and we went to the rendezvous point down by the cavalry on the Merville road. By this time most of our officers were down, wounded or dead, we didn't know, of course, and Colonel Otway had a terrible decision to make, to try and keep fighting, you know, because we also had to go back into Ampeville and try and take that in the Le Plan area. As an engineer, my rendezvous point was Merville, and I asked permission to leave the battalion, and they told me to take the prisoners and take them back to Regimental HQ in Merville. And that was my D-Day. Later on D-Day there was an attack on Merville by reportedly either tanks or guns, which I really wasn't involved with, but I finished up on a pier laying in a ditch in Merville with the tanks about maybe from here to the house down there about 200 metres away. Fortunately the tanks were knocked out by our 6-pounders firing more or less at a point blank range, and then there was several attacks on Merville, but we managed to hold the position. By this time the second airlift was coming in the late evening, and I think when the Germans saw it they beat a hasty retreat. There were about 257 gliders with their tugs coming in over Ouistreham, and it was a really all-expiring event. And I think the Germans realised that their number was up, and we didn't. Apart from being mortared and shelled, there were probably a few probing attacks by the German infantry, but we felt quite safe in Merville, but it was under observation from Brayville and also from Columbell. And if anything moved around in the area, we used to get stonked. Stonked, but expression stonk means hit by mortar fire. Quite a few lives were lost in this way. You raise dust, you got stonked, and you lost people.